What's up everybody, Dan here from Headwaters, and today we're going to go paddle Gold Lake. Gold Lake's located in the Lakes Basin, Plumas National Forest. They call it the Lost Sierras. It's a section of the Sierras that not too many people visit, and the whole basin is just covered and dotted in lakes. Gold Lake's the largest lake in the chain of lakes, so I thought it'd be the most fun to get out there and check out the biggest lake. So I'll bring you guys along. We're going to go for a little paddle and check it out. So in my last video, I paddled this boat a lot, but I didn't really give you guys a fair look at it. So I thought I would walk you through it real quick. The Pachena, just over 14 foot. It's got a rudder on it. Rear bulkhead, rear hatch there. Really good size opening so you could pack it with gear. Kind of unique in the fact that it has no front hatch, no front bulkhead. So it goes all the way right up to the front. The thing that makes this boat unique is just how wide that front end is. It carries a lot of that volume up in the front. They call that fish form, which gives you a really stable profile. Rides high up over the waves. It's got a nice raked bow. You can see how quickly it gets to that volume there. So it makes it surf so good, makes it go downwind really well. Paddle wise today, I've got the Aquabound Tetra bent shaft running a 210. I know I'm spoiled, I got a spare, it's also a 210. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but the wind is up. We're gonna have a pretty windy day. It's a big lake, so we're gonna have some white caps, so we'll definitely get to put it through its paces. So every year I come up here to the Lakes Basin, and I always do little paddles. I usually have a sit on top or an inflatable that I'm bringing along. This year I decided I wanted to bring a touring boat, and I wanted to check out Gold Lake, because it's the biggest lake in the Lakes Basin region. I don't know exactly how big, but I'm gonna paddle a circumference. I'm gonna go ahead and track it. I'll put it on my Strava. If you're interested in that sort of thing, I'll track all my paddles on Strava. It's just Dan Arbuckle or Daniel Arbuckle. Anyway, should be a nice tour. We've got our work cut out for us today with this wind. Tell you what, I've been into a million of these little high Sierra lakes, and no two of them are identical. They all have their own little unique flavor and scene. You can see the lake's already picking up a little bit. Starting to get a little bouncy. I've been using the rudder the whole time today. It's been really nice. Just as this boat bobs and moves around, I just have my foot on the rudder. I'm not really thinking about tracking at all, which is great. But yeah, we're about to go into the teeth of this thing, and the white caps are building. Should be interesting. Okay. Keep going. I feel like I'm the only one on the lake today. Well, we're about halfway through our slog. There's a nice peninsula here. We're gonna stop and catch our breath, grab some water. Whew. It is a workout paddling against that wind. Thankful to have a really light paddle. It makes such a big difference. This kayak flies, man. It just rips across the waves. Really impressive. See some thunderclouds building off in the distance. I wonder if we'll get any of that action. Kind of typical Sierra weather though in the summertime. It's usually calm in the morning, afternoon, the wind picks up, you get white caps, and then in the evening it'll die back off. But it's kind of fun to get out here in the waves and have a little bit of a challenge. Kind of take a breather. Oh man, that is a good workout. That's where touring kayaks are kind of like bicycles. On a beach cruiser, you know, you hit a hill and you're like, all right, well, I'm done. You know, on a mountain bike, you hit a hill and you're gonna work for it, but you're gonna get to where you want to go and you're gonna feel accomplished. That's kind of how I feel about touring kayaks. They're sort of like the mountain bikes. They can surf waves, they can cut upwind, they can, you know, bounce through chop sideways. You got the rudder or a skeg to help control it. And not everyone has water like this. Not everyone needs a touring kayak. But if you do, you definitely owe it to yourself to get in something a little bit higher performance than just a basic 12-foot recreational boat. So think about this, you guys. If I was out in the middle of this lake out here trying to make my way upwind, it would be a non-stop slog into the headwind. Whereas what I'm doing now is I'm going kind of point to point and keep dipping inside here, and you get a little shelter from the wind on every point. So it's a little longer, but overall it's less effort, because once I'm sort of back into this cove, the wind dies down, the waves chill out, and I can really start making some ground. Plus it's just super pretty. What a lovely day. Almost there. I'd say the end is in sight. I'd say maybe 80% there, 85. Let's go. All right, we are here. We made it to the far end of the lake. This is where like all the cool houses are. People got their boats moored out, like this one up here. It's got kind of beaches. It's sort of like a mini private Lake Tahoe. Oh man, I bet this lake is absolutely magic. I can picture it at sunset with big clouds turning all pink and orange. The water just calming down to glass. All the reflections coming off these rock walls. I bet it's just stunning. Man, I wish I could be out here at that time of night, but you got dad chores at camp. You know, you got to make dinner, you got to clean up, s'mores, the whole bit. So I'll take what I can get. Save this for another trip. Maybe I can spend a few days out here next time. Very cool little camp setups back here. People got like lodge tents and decks and patios, just nestled away in the woods. Hello. You guys got it going on, man. That's quite the spot. You too. This is like 1990s vibes. All the chairs on the beach, all the old canoes, kayaks, paddle boats. You know, the only strange thing is I just don't see the people. Maybe because it's a weekday, but I see a whole bunch of tents off in the background. You know what my favorite part is there's no internet. I can live without the news for a week. I feel like disconnected from the internet, from social media, all that stuff, and just start to feel, I don't know, human again. That sounds cliche, I guess, but as I sit here talk to a camera as I kayak, but I do feel like this disconnect is more of a reconnect. To reconnect with yourself, with your thoughts. But up here you got the time, you have the space. It's good living. You can feel those wind gusts. This boat with a rudder is really buttery, because it wants to lean on that edge. And the pivot point's further forward than your typical kayak, and then the rudder just really helps accentuate that turn. Just has a different feel to it. I mean, every kayak's slightly different, but this one's just really different than anything I've used. Real predictable. It was great coming upwind. I did use the rudder just because, you know, there's a lot of headwind, crosswind, and then ride the eddy. So anyway, the rudder was handy to just keep me on track. I wasn't really thinking about my steering. And then on the way downwind, I'll definitely rely on that rudder because it just helps lock that kayak in, so I'm not having to do corrective strokes every few strokes. Anyway, it's always fun to learn a new boat, especially one with a unique heritage, you know. It's like finding your dad's like late 80s stump jumper. That was kind of goofy when you were a kid, but then you see it through fresh eyes as an adult. So I think the same thing's true with these old kayaks for me. Down this cool little cove and see all the kayaks and paddleboards out here. I always love seeing that. So many people have gotten into the sport over the past, I don't know, 15 years. I mean, I thought it was kind of blown out when I started getting really into it in like 2008, you know? Like how many people are gonna really kayak? Like it seemed like such a niche of a sport. But I was wrong, it blew up even more. All the way through 2020, the sport just grew and grew and grew, and more kayaks hit the market. Which is cool to see so many people got into it. And my hope is that this channel has attracted new faces, you know, educated first-time paddlers, but also has turned into something that, as you grow in paddle sports, you can find little nuggets that apply to you as well. You know, I really want to meet people where they're at, but then give them somewhere to go. It's not just always flat water paddling around a cove. You can do a lot more with these kayaks. So that's been my goal, is to kind of educate you a little bit on the history, a little bit on what's possible. And if nothing else, I'm hoping I inspire some people to take some adventures and try something out that maybe they otherwise wouldn't have. Beautiful. This is where a rudder's so nice. I've got these weird quartering seas that would constantly want to push me upwind. The rudder just makes it easy. It keeps me right on course. If I need to skirt out and paddle around an obstacle, just a little kick of the rudder. Yeah. Definitely getting into some decent waves now. Alright, gonna sneak through here. There you go, not in your boat. Yeah, that's keeping out. Hit the rudder, but that's alright. On the bottom there. I guess that brings up the point that people are going to ask. It's like, what happens, you know, when you scratch up the bottom of your composite boat, like I just did? I mean, this boat has been having 30 plus years of that. Yeah, 32 years of that. And there are spots where I've got some spider cracks, which I can show you, or deep gouges. And eventually, it might get to the place where I want to put some more glass and reinforce an area and respray some gel coat. And maybe I do that. I've also thought about like redoing the deck lines and the deck rigging and fixing a couple little spots that have a chunk out of them. But let's be honest, it's all cosmetic because this boat paddle's totally fine just how it is. Nice, and some beautiful rocks. Nice and deep too, like a good place to do some cliff jumping. What am I thinking? Water's nice. Might as well take it for a little swim. At least there's a good spot to pull out. Dude, I'll be honest, everything gets so much harder now with my foot situation. Okay, let's back up. So in April, I broke my foot mountain biking, and I broke it in 7 different places. And then to have like a plate put on, a bunch of screws, pin that went through the foot, basically reconstruction. And I'm like 3 months into it, and I'm able to paddle. I'm able to pedal a bicycle. I'm able to walk. It's all weight bearing, you know. Structurally, it's good. In September, I'll get all the hardware taken out. The moral of my story is, like, right now I'm in that in-between mode where I'm like, do I go do something I really want to do, like jump in? Do I put myself at risk? I'm by myself, climbing up rocks to get to the spot. Like, I'm weighing this stuff all a little differently, whereas normally I wouldn't even think about it and I would have been off that cliff already. Once I'm in the water, I'm not worried. Really good swimmer. It's right around the corner. It's just a matter of getting out and getting up these rocks. So I'm going to try. I'm going to just feel it out. But if I look like a goon, that's why. Which is, you know, good for you guys to see, because I realize getting in and out of a kayak is not always easy as I make it look. So for anybody that's ever been frustrated with me, like, he makes it look so damn easy, this is for you. Okay. Get up close to this rock here. Oh, it's so slippery. Oh. Oh. Okay. That wasn't bad though. Once I'm up out of the water, I got some grip. Okay, sick. Dude, this kayak is so fun. It makes me so happy. Oh, sweet, I'm up. Oh, it feels good to get out and stretch too. Yes. All right, we did it. That was work. Man, look at it out here though. What a cool spot. Cannot believe I got it all to myself today. We launched on that peninsula right over here. We have a couple of islands we get to paddle around, hit this big bay, and then I'll cross over to the 2 islands, cross back. What a cool way to see a lake. So parked around the corner. Here's the spot. Plenty deep. I'm gonna go in from way down there though. I think that feels about right. Whew. Feels so good. Okay. Okay. So I'll get my feet in there. I think that's the key. Is once the feet are in, then I can like touch the boat, balance myself. Awesome. I'm so glad I did that. Just made the trip like that much more fun. That much more epic. These clouds today are so cool. See them all starting to build over here. There may be a thunderstorm tonight. I mean, I'll be off the water long before that. Hopefully. Like I said, we're almost done. Okay, quick question for you guys. Are any of you out there the kind of people that if you're following a shoreline, you have to follow it, you have to just see everything, see where it goes? Or if you're like driving down a road and there's a fork to the left and a fork to the right, you like want to see where both go? I've always been that kind of person. So when I paddle a lake like this, I try to cover every kind of inch of the shoreline as I can. And then when I see an island, I like to go out and do like a lollipop, paddle the whole island, come back. Just so, I don't know, there's something about it. I like the way it just makes me feel like I completed the thing. So that's what we're gonna do today. We got 2 islands, so we're gonna go out, paddle around the upwind side of the island, cut across another time, and then we'll go on the lee side of the island on the way back, and hopefully we'll catch it all. So crossing over the island, we're gonna have a really nice cross breeze. We're gonna put this rudder to the test, and I'm gonna try to actually angle a little bit ahead of the island. So as I'm cutting over the islands here, I'm trying to like almost cut past it because that wind is gonna push me, and it's gonna push me around that island. So I wanna give myself enough sea room to get out and around it. Looks like we might have a series of islands actually. I just got picked up by a little wave. That was crazy. Wonderful. Yeah, the wind's picking up again. That's great. All right, we're gonna cross over to this next island. But to be on a lake in a good windy chop feels great. I did all the hard part on the way up. Now I've got a slow cruise back. I feel those wind and waves just pushing me. The boat's in total control. I can just gently steer with the rudder, keep my paddle stroke steady, and the boat always just kind of wanting to just turn and slowly ride down the waves. That's the beauty of a fish form design. Speed forms kind of want to tend to turn upwind. It can be a little bit more of a handful. No, not this boat. This boat wants to run with the waves. Woo! Woo! So good. Dude, I love this stuff. My smile says it all. This boat's so impressive. So good. So stable. So comfortable and composed. Super impressive. Like even in my old Sitka, I would have been like, I've been working this. This boat makes it really easy. How is it something from the 90s is better than what's out today? Man, that was rad. That was absolutely rad. So good. That's where we just came from. So I think what I'm gonna do, I think I'm gonna cut across here and do the exact opposite of what I said, but cut across here and then make my way back up the cove this way. so I can head back out and do one more ride home, because that was just too good. One more crossing. The waves are picking up a little bit. It's cool. Wind's kind of tapered down a little bit. The waves are still up. Every once in a while you catch a little ride. It kind of, oh, here's one. Pushes you along. Very chill. You do all the work on the way up and the way down. You just get to ride with the waves. The waves appear for a moment and they're gone. And if you're here in that moment, you get a little free ride from nature. And just as fast as it starts, it disappears. Well, we're kind of back to where I decided to make the decision to go do that second loop. That was well worth it. That was so freaking fun. Special day. Special boat. I'm really impressed with this kayak. This is kind of a quintessential high mountain lake tour. Like if you're paddling Lake Tahoe, this is kind of what you can expect. You're gonna have some headwinds, you're gonna have some side winds, you're gonna have some downwinds, and you're gonna have a ton of fun. So make sure you have the right boat for it. This is where a boat like this comes into play. 14-foot skeg boat, rudder boat, great for these kind of conditions. Okay, here are the stats. Took me 2 hours, 6.14 miles. It's not a bad paddle. Good little tour. I was at about just over 3 miles an hour, which makes sense for how lollygagging I am talking to the camera, swimming. But yeah, sweet paddle. Again, if you want to follow, see the stats, post those over on my personal Strava page. Just look me up, Dan Arbuckle, and see what we're up to. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on an adventure with me. Hopefully you learned a little bit about paddling in the wind. If nothing else, hopefully you just enjoyed the paddle and hanging out. Like I mentioned earlier, the more you guys engage with these videos, the more people are going to see them. So do me a favor, leave a comment, subscribe, share it with your grandma, all that good stuff. And until next time, this is Dan wishing you happy paddling. We'll see you on the next one.